Hi everyone. All right, welcome to Love and Marriage here on TV Sapiencia. Love, marriage, relationships, that's what we talk about. We discuss things that will help singles and of course the married ones to have a beautiful relationship. Once again, welcome. My name is Oma. You're very sweet at on radio and TV, and with me is Fresh. Fresh, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Glad to be here with you on the program.
Same here. It's actually an honor. It's a great thing to, come once every week like this, every Tuesday to talk about one of the most beautiful things in life, talking about love, talking about marriage. This is what every human being naturally looks out for. One may not be looking for marriage, but definitely when it comes to love, no one survives without it.
Sure. Everybody needs love. There's this yearning. I've come to realize that there's this yearning in the life of a man, a woman, even the young ones, children. Everybody needs to be shown that kind of love. Everybody, love is a way of assuring people that you're there for them. And talking about what we'll be discussing today on the program, house chores.
House chores,
If you love someone, why would you allow that person to do all the house chores by him or herself? All right?
Yeah.
We are looking at house chores today on the program, and let's just talk about this whole thing about house chores. Well, let's start with the definition, which is what let's start with defining house chores.
What house chores is. Of course, when you're talking about house chores, I think it's just what we do at home, to keep the home running. There are people after going to work, they come back, they do the normal things, cooking, washing, cleaning, even bathing the kids. They are part of house chores. Just taking care of the home, making sure the home is in good shape and everybody in the home is also comfortable.
Let me add something to that. Sometimes when we talk about house chores, people simply narrow it down to just inside the house. Do you know that sometimes when a man go out to fend for money, to get that money, do you think it's part of house chores? Or is it just those things that people do in the house?
Well, basically, house chores is those things that you do at home. But if you run an errand to enable those things, it's actually house chores. For instance, if supposing that the gas has finished and I had to go
and buy the gas
and bring it back home.
It's part of house chores
because if I don't do that, cooking will not happen. It's part of house chores. And in Africa, as a matter of fact, it's not been defined whose duty is house chores.
And that is what we're trying to do on this program, to define house chores, whose duty, who should do what, at what point should who do what. But before we get to those points, there's another side. Why I'm asking all those questions is, will you get to a home where maybe the wife, the woman, doesn't really have an outside job that she goes out to? Okay? Maybe I don't like using the word housewife.
But it's a popular name.
But I simply don't like using the word housewife.
So a situation where a woman is not doing anything.
He's not doing anything.
Apart from
when we talk about housewife, you have this mentality of the woman is not doing anything, she has maids, and all she does is just to watch movies. That's the mentality that comes to the mind of anybody. Not knowing that when a woman stays at home to take care of the children, I've never seen any job as big as that. I'm not speaking because I'm a woman. But I'm speaking because that is the truth. And even you, as a father that you are, sometimes if your wife travels and you had to stay with the kids, you know how tiring it is.
Well, in as much as when you talk about a man and you talk about a woman, you discover that women, they are more flexible. than men. You know, a woman is flexible in a way that you can bend her this way, bend her this way, bend her this way, bend her this way. That's why she can clean the house, bath the kids, do the cooking, feed the children, feed the husband, feed the husband again, and so many other things. But naturally, a man is stiff. You know, if you try to bend a man to an extent, such a man can break. You know, talking about house chores, well, in the Western world, it's a normal thing for a man to do anything. It's also a normal thing for a man to stay at home while the wife works. You know, but in this part of the world, it's naturally believed that a woman's duty, it's the responsibility of a woman to do the house chores, and because of the kind of strength women have, which sometimes breaks them down, as a matter of fact, you know, doing house chores, they make it look like it's not a big deal. It's a small thing, because you just see the woman do a lot of things within a twinkle of an eye, making it look like it's just a normal thing. It's just part of her duty. It's just what she has to do. But just like you said, I remember there was a time my wife traveled. She went to Lagos, and I was going to prepare my son for that time. We just had only Jason, and I was going to prepare him for school. In fact, everything I did, I had to be on phone with my wife. That's number one.
I remember those times.
Yeah,
I remember.
So I had to be on phone with her.
And even when you come to work, I know the person that takes care of him for you.
Yeah. So it wasn't really easy for me. But before then, I used to think, just like sometimes if we are running late, maybe to school, going for school run, you know, I may be shouting on my wife, telling her, be fast. But after that experience, I discovered that
you calm down.
In fact, a couple of days I took my son to school without spoon, without cup, and all of those things.
My goodness.
So in this part of the world, it's a woman thing, you know.
Fresh. Let me come in there. Let me come in there. I think that is why we're here. That is why we have this kind of program, so that we talk about it, and we need to start changing the narratives.
Yeah.
That's in this part of the world. That a lot of guys, you know, you actually said, women, you can bend them. Let me shock you. Not all women. Do you know that there are women that don't like house chores? There are women that to sweep the house is a problem to them. There are women, they don't like cooking. They don't like washing plates. They don't like washing clothes. It is their nature. So when we talk about house chores, I to a large extent, I think it's about the training one has got. And there are men that it's in their nature. For example, my eldest brother. In fact, he can't even stay in a house that is dirty. He cleans the house better than a woman can ever clean. There are men that when you test their food, they even prefer to cook. For example, my elder sister will tell me that when it comes to preparing fried rice, that her husband prepares it better than she will ever do. So you see, it's more about individuals, because we now have this mentality, we have this mindset that men is like this, women are like that. But probably because our society for a long time has sold this narrative into our heads, making us think that this is how it should be, that is how it should be. Meanwhile, people can actually interchange roles. When it comes to homes, people can actually interchange roles and do what works out for them. You wanted to say something?
Yeah, well, the truth of the matter is that there are things that you cannot necessarily change 100%. This idea of a man having that responsibility of house chores, or a woman saying that naturally she doesn't like cooking, she doesn't like cleaning, she doesn't like washing, she doesn't like, and such woman is also a married woman. You know, for me, it may work in some other places, but as long as Africa is concerned, every set of people have their culture. It is not part of African culture, and for me it doesn't work out well when it is like that. And as much as I personally encourage men, you know, to do house chores, not necessarily for it to be their duty, but to assist their wives with house chores. But that doesn't mean that automatically is the duty of a man to.
But that is where the problem comes in.
Yeah.
It is not. Now, thank God we're having this conversation. When a man married, who is married to a woman, both of them, the house belongs to both of them. The man is not necessarily assisting the woman. Both of them are helping each other. It's just like when a woman gets money and maybe there's something that needs to be done in the house and she uses that money and does that. The woman is not necessarily assisting the man. Because if she does not do that thing, at that point, the man may not have the money. The money may not be there. And if she says, okay, it is the duty of the man must do it. The man must bring the money. Meanwhile, there is no money in the man's bank account to execute that thing that needs to be done in the house. As a matter of fact, I've seen, there's this couple that I know when I was growing up. They were supposed to cook in the house. Amazingly. Because the man did not bring the money, and the woman had the money, I think they were cooking beans or something. And the kerosene, it was a long time ago, those times that gas wasn't so rampant. Kerosene finished in the stove. The woman had money with her. Bring out money and go and buy kerosene to come and continue with what you're cooking. Do you know this woman did not bring out the money? She was waiting for the man to come back home. And the man came back home. Amazingly, the man didn't have the money to buy kerosene. That was how that beans spoiled. And both of them they even fought because of that incident. According to the man, the woman is so wicked. Why can't she, must it be him that would do that? I don't know if you understand the point I'm trying to make.
I'm getting the point.
A situation where the husband and the wife, it's like, for me, marriage is supposed to be partnership. Anybody that has, if it's the woman that has the money at that particular point in time, do it. You're doing it for yourself too. When you do something for your husband, you're doing it for yourself too. If it's the man that can help out, do it. When you do something for your wife, you're also doing it for yourself. Probably we should start thinking in a way to change that narrative.
Oma, listen, let me tell you something. You see, in marriage, there is what we understand as headship. We will not take away the fact that the man is the head of the family. That's number one. Number two is delegation of duties, for instance. You know, let's take, for instance, in my house, if there is a snake in my house now, I don't expect my wife to be in the forefront to ensure the snake is killed.
That is when you are around.
Yeah, when
you are around. What of
there.
the situation you are not around?
If I'm not around, even she on her own may not be able to face the snake.
And
what she
happen?
will do is she will look for a way of escape to save herself.
And the
it
snake.
is when I come. Yes.
Oh please.
But that's
Let's
the way
be realistic. Let's just be realistic. Let's leave the snake issue. Let's continue with what we're saying, because we are trying. We have people who are watching us, so we are trying to get to a point.
Okay, and apart from that, if you say we should take away the snake issue because it's scary, maybe.
Let's leave it.
Okay.
Let's leave it.
The Bible says that a man who cannot provide for his family is worse than infidel. Now, that is a delegation of a certain duty. And women work, they provide their help, their support. Sometimes I know there are women who also carry the family themselves. But that does not necessarily mean that the man will now have a duty to do the house chores.
Okay.
I'm an ambassador of a man being part of the house chores, not because it is his duty, but it is an obligation. This is what he needs to do to assist his wife, for instance. Okay, let me take it, for instance, a situation where your wife is working and you're working. The both of you go out in the morning, and you also come back in the evening, almost the same time, if not the same time. As a man, naturally, it is wrong for you to, watch your wife come back and start doing the house chores all alone.
All by herself.
All by herself. And in the morning, do the same thing all by herself. Naturally, such man doesn't really love the woman. That is what I'm saying.
Okay.
It is clear. Now, in the other hand, a situation where the woman is not working and the man leaves in the morning, comes back in the evening. Now, I will not actually say the woman is not doing anything. One can say one is not working. Maybe you're not working for money, you're not working to make money. But that doesn't mean that the person is not doing anything, because house chores is also
very big
kind
work.
of hectic.
In fact, it's even
task,
more hectic than that one you go outside to do.
Well, it depends on the one you go outside to do.
Sincerely.
Because
Sincerely.
A lot of people, because if you're talking about what people go outside to, a lot of people go through hell to make money.
You're right.
You
Right.
cannot say that the house chores is more hectic or more difficult.
Sincerely, but to a large extent,
soldier who is in the battlefield.
But to a large extent, at least a soldier,
or even a barrel pusher.
A soldier. Wait, though, a soldier is in the battlefield. Okay, he knows he has a gun. And his duty is to shoot down enemies. He knows that already. All right? Aggressors, to shoot down aggressors. Someone who is a barrel pusher, okay, his duty, he knows, okay, I'm supposed to carry load. Okay? Now, you can't compare it to a woman who has children to take care of.
Let me
wait. Let me land. Even though all these things we are trying to say we digress us from what we are talking about. You are saying you are making a point.
No. What I'm actually saying, if you're talking about what men do to make money, lots of guys go through hell.
The same thing with women.
Make money.
The same thing with women. It is not just particular to a gender. Everybody. It is not just particular to a particular gender. Everybody. A man goes through hell to make money. A woman still goes through a lot of challenges to make money. Yes, that's the truth. So let's appreciate both genders.
Okay.
Let it not just be, oh, this person is doing so much, or that person is doing so much. Both genders are really going through a lot.
So a situation where the both of them are working.
Okay, you are talking about the one that does not work. Maybe the woman that's at home.
Yeah. So a situation where the woman is at home doing all those things and the man is out there, working hard, trying to make money to run the family, take care of the family, and he comes back later in the evening and the wife expects him to walk into the kitchen and start washing dishes.
No, that's wrong.
Or the man comes back and the whole place is dirty, and the woman sees it as being part of the family. It is his duty to tidy up the house.
No, I wouldn't subscribe to that one. But let me shock you. Although I think these things are about individuals. I have a brother, a friend, who he works in one of the financial institutions, but the wife is at home. All right. So he comes back. In fact, the last time I spoke with him, he was telling me that by the next morning, by 5 a.m., he will have to go and fetch water. He comes back from work, he fetches water. This is somebody that works in a financial institution. And I looked at him, I told him, you're a real man. You're an amazing man. I said, it is not every man that will come back home. Even when you know that your wife is at home, you come back home from work and you still go and fetch water that will be used at the house. But it is how they decided to do their own thing. Because I believe everything is about how people decide. But it becomes a problem when someone, maybe a man, decides not to be a part of it. I don't know if you get me. Decides not to be a part of it. Okay, because I've seen a lot of families where the man comes back home, especially when both of them are working. Both of them come back home. The man, a friend of mine was telling me, she said that we were having a chit chat. She told me that when she gave birth to her children, that the husband will come back from work, and the next thing the husband will do is to go inside the room and leave her with the children. She walks so. She walks so. That the husband will go inside the room and leave her with the children. She noticed it the first week. The second week, that she said no. She went inside that room and she started talking to the husband. She said, no, you cannot allow me to be the only person taking care of these children. Both of us are the parents. You should be a part of it. When you come back home, at least play with them. Let them get used to you. Let them know you. Be a part of. If it's about taking, beating them, you can beat them, and it will even help you to bond. Because one of the things a lot of men are yet to understand about this whole house chores is this: when a child is growing up and sees the father assisting the mom, that child has a different kind of respect for that man. Let me give you an example. My son, when it's amazing how the dad controls him even when he's not at home. I could tell him to do something. He will first of all ask me, what would daddy say? Really? Okay. He will come back from school. Mommy, I want to on TV. Or, because I noticed that his dad told him that before he owns TV, he should first of all do his homework. If I tell him, oh yeah, go and on TV, so he will just leave me. So he will get, if I'm, maybe I could be in the kitchen.
Understand.
So he will just go there and just mind the TV, let me be doing what I'm doing. He will say no. That daddy says he should do his homework first.
Before
putting on TV. If I'm doing, on Saturdays, if I'm cleaning, he'll come. Mommy, give me work. 4 years old. Mommy, give me work. He'll be crying. Seriously, give me work. Where did he learn that from? From the dad. And he probably told him that. So what point am I trying to make? The point I'm trying to make is this. When a child watches you become part of it, it becomes a part of him or a part of her.
Well, the truth of the matter is that well, in Africa, in Igbo land particularly, we encourage men, to assist. I keep using the word.
You keep using the word assist, and I disagree with that assist.
When it comes to house chores,
I actually strongly disagree with that assist.
Well, it is the position that the African culture has placed it, and we need to. Because seriously, okay, go on. You know why I keep using the word assist? For instance, in the place where we come from, for the fact that I am helping out, I am joining my wife. I like washing dish. My wife is washing, I'm rinsing, and we are just gisting. Okay. I do that. And I'm doing it today. Tomorrow I'm doing it. Next tomorrow I'm doing it. It does not necessarily mean that my wife will be bold enough to call me, honey, go and wash the plate.
No, she wouldn't say, honey, go and wash the plate.
I don't know if you understand.
She
Let's
won't
take
say,
for
honey,
instance.
go and wash the
Take
plate.
for instance that the plates needs to be washed, and she's now telling me to go and wash it. She could ask me, honey, can you assist me? Can you assist me in washing the plate?
Okay, let me ask you a question. That time both of you are doing it together, what does it do to your relationship?
Yeah, just like I said, it's for me it's fun, because we'll just gist, we'll make out we gist the more while we are doing that, and she too, she likes it, but what I'm trying to I'm trying to put it is that the fact that we are doing this does not make her think that it is now my duty, that whenever she wants me to do it, then I will definitely do it. You understand? But because of probably the way we are doing it and the way we feel and the things most times we joke.
Okay, let me come in there. There is something a lot of married couples need to learn, that if your wife is healthy, it is for your own good. If your husband is healthy, it's for your own good. In my house, I don't let my husband do things because to a large extent I think, okay, I can do it better. Like when it comes to house chores, but he helps out. But there was one day something happened to my hand. I had an injury on my hand. It was whitlow. It was so painful. I couldn't do a lot. My husband came back one of the days. He saw that I was in pains and he said, what can I help you with? That day, I was supposed to cook soup. I said, okay, please, just help me with the okra. He took it, finished it. I was like, you can do this thing very well, or even more than me. He said, it's simply because you don't let me do. I said, okay, no problem. You're only doing it because I had an injury on my hand. That naturally, I want to do it. But after that day, I was like, oh my God, I started respecting him the more. Why? Because he didn't allow me to be the one to start asking for it. He came back from work, he saw that I was in pain. I was supposed to cook that soup. I went to market, bought things for soup. I was supposed to use it. But I had an injury on my finger that couldn't let me do anything.
But can you say that it's because of the kind of person you are? There are certain women that if you do it for them, they will stop doing it. It becomes your own duty.
Why?
No, I'm just trying to make you understand that every human being is not the same. And when you are married, you try to understand the kind of woman or the kind of man you are married to. There are women that if you assist them and they see that you can do that thing, it's either you share it, that honey, this week you're cooking, or the man takes that job from there, or else there won't be peace in that house. In fact, the man will have to even go through a whole lot of emotional trauma, because the woman will make it clear to him that, so you can even do this and you've been adamant. You've not been doing it all this while just because I am sick now. That's why God has exposed you. Therefore, from now, you have to be doing it. Now, the area I'm just trying to bring out is, I want us to understand that doing house chores with one's partner is good. At least it helps you to bond, to fraternize, to be close to each other. But let it not be saying that for the fact that a man is doing it, that it is his duty.
You kept emphasizing on this, but let's just have an open mind. and discuss this thing, because why we are having this conversation is to change the narrative. To change the narrative in such a way that a husband and a wife can actually help each other, assist each other in the house, without one person thinking that, okay, this person is a fool, okay, that person, because when I see the way a lot of people see their husbands, see their wives, it is not necessary. I just said something. If your husband is healthy, it's for your own good. If your wife is healthy, it's for your own good. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So let's analyze the advantages of actually doing the house chores together.
Okay.
From your own experience.
Okay.
Then I'll share mine.
Now I'll just tell you a little story. In my place, there is where we make egusi soup.
Okay.
Apart from the normal contemporary way that people do egusi soup, I will just give you a little brief.
Okay.
Before pounding it, before grinding it, you can fry it.
Okay.
And after frying it, you now start pounding it, adding crayfish and all other things.
Wow.
At the end of the day, you don't need to fry it again. You boil water. I don't think we should be doing this. Now, let me just cut it short. So, when my wife got married to me, she doesn't know how to cook it like that.
way, okay.
But she understands. She knows how to cook the normal egusi soup. So one day I made it, and she was not there when I made it, and my mother-in-law came, and my wife, we were just talking, so she was now singing that egusi soup that I made, that all her life she has not eaten that kind of egusi soup anywhere in this life. So the mother was heard
it.
And at the end of the day, when we finished that conversation, the mother quickly called her. I was asking her, do you allow your husband to cook for you? Is he the one cooking food that you eat? And my wife now smiled. I now had to explain to her so that she doesn't see her as a bad wife or a bad daughter. But for the both of us, it's just something that it's once in a while. My wife may say, auntie, she can't cook it now because I had to teach her.
Teach her how to cook it.
So,
and she cooks it better, right?
Well, if you say better, I will not argue.
Oh, she will add the feminine touch to it.
I will not argue it, but the truth is that I have learned this. It's just like somebody from somewhere else coming to tell me that you can cook maybe ofede, or you can cook what do you call
Nsala?
it? No, not nsala.
Okra.
This pam ofaku.
Okay.
A woman coming to tell me she can cook it better than me. I will not argue with the person, but deep down inside me, I know it's difficult for a woman to cook.
Okay.
To cook it. If you're talking about stew, you understand, because some of the ingredients you may use I may not even have heard about it. But you see that ofaku, because this ofaku, maybe since I was 10.
Okay.
I was already cooking it.
Oh wow.
And I wasn't cooking it like people, for instance, on nature, where you go to market and buy aku and you manage it. I was cooking it in a way that I produce the aku by myself at home. Okay. And I use the best aku. Okay. You understand? And I don't manage it. And it's just been part of me. So in that case, somebody who is cooking it in the city, I will not come out to say, I can cook ofaku better than my wife. But I know that if my wife is cooking ofaku sometimes, she will say, honey, in your own, how do you do it? Okay. How do you do that? Okay. Or even say, okay, honey, come and do this. The oil is it thick enough? I want to have the result you used to have. Because
and that bond both of you makes the relationship better, right?
Good. So now you just discover that she she discovered what I can do,
Yeah.
and maybe do better, because I was brought
And
up
that
locally.
flavor, that
You
feminine
understand?
flavor to it.
You know,
Yeah.
when I got married, that was when I discovered that you use some of these condiments. You know, but me, growing up, I can cook a lot of things, but
Okay.
naturally, I don't know about all these condiments. The only condiment I know is Maggi. You understand?
Okay,
But I
yeah.
use the natural ogiri. I
Yeah.
use all of those other stuffs,
Okay.
but the natural ones. So now, if you ask me to cook something and use those condiments, you will say I don't know how to cook, because the quantity I may be adding may not
May
all
not-
the time I'll
yeah.
have to add it.
Yeah.
But tell me to if you ask me to cook fried rice, I don't know how to cook it, because I wasn't brought. My mother doesn't cook it herself. We don't know how to cook it. But tell me to do okpo soup. I don't know what you know. whether
Yeah,
you
I've
know.
heard about it, but I've never tested
Just
it.
the okra soup you're cooking.
Okay.
We allow it to dry.
Okay.
You put the okra, we put it under the sun for days, and it dries, and we'll pound it, and we are cooking it. And I'm using ogiri to do it, and using dry fish to do it. And you want to come from the city, and you are telling me because you're a woman you can cook that kind of soup better than me.
Okay.
I may not
Alright.
argue with you, but
Okay.
deep down I know that you can't.
So we're talking about the advantages of
You understand?
working together, doing house chores together.
So now, doing house chores together, number one is that you are teaching your kids, just
Good.
like you said.
Good.
You know, my son now cannot say that washing plate is a woman's thing,
Great.
because he sees me do those things.
Great.
My son picks the broom now to sweep the house without being told, because
Great.
but just like you talked about your friend, if it's like, if as soon as I enter the house, I go into the room, I'm pressing phone, I'm lying down, and my wife is doing all of those things. No, it shouldn't be.
That actually changed because after she spoke with him, in fact, right now, she told me that whenever he comes back, that he wants to know what they've done, and he assists in bathing the kids.
Yeah.
That when they wake up in the morning, that he actually baits the kids and helps them dress for school, which is actually a very beautiful thing. All right. And again, to add to what you've said before, there is something I call cooking with love. I tell my husband that I'm not just cooking food, that I'm cooking with love. Okay? Because sometimes when I'm cooking, he wants to assist, and I tell him, okay, just stay here and be gisting, be talking to me. Let's just be having a conversation, and I'll be doing the cooking. All right? And just for the fact that he's there, we are talking, he'll just be gisting. It helps relationships, the husband and wife, to grow. Both of you have more time to talk, discuss. And just like I told you that the day I was very, very down, he came in, saw that I was down. He said,
did it perfectly.
What can I do for you?
Yeah.
The next day he came back, what can I do for you? Then the third day he came back, what can I said, no, I'm okay now. I can handle it. He said, okay, if you say so, no problem. So, as a man, when you do those things, and your wife knows that you actually want me to be all right, you want me to be fine, you want me to be okay, she will go the extra miles for you. That is one thing a lot of guys need to understand.
Well, when it comes to marriage, every action is sending a message to each person. Whatever action you put up, anything you're doing in your marriage is sending message to your partner. Now, this message could be love, it could also be hate. Marriage is not a very serious thing. It's not a very difficult thing. I think marriage is basically marry somebody who's your friend.
True.
this thing becomes a problem when you marry someone
who is not your friend.
When you marry someone who is afraid of you.
Yeah.
When you marry someone where
you can't even stand.
Where there is the disequality.
But it beats my imagination. How can a man, you come into the house, you see that your wife is terribly sick, and you still expect her to serve you food? You still expect her to do all those house chores without even looking for a way to actually assist and make things better for her.
Another thing is that people should have orientation. When it comes to marriage. A lot of people just believe that marriage is domination. The man is on top, the woman is at the bottom, he can do anything. So that is it. And it shouldn't be serious then. If the both of you can just be friends, this thing, you don't force it
at all.
You just know that, of course, those days as kids, when you visit your friend and your friend is doing house chores, as kids, you start helping out. Your friend doesn't force you. Your friend doesn't even have to beg you.
Before you know it, you're just there helping out. Both of you are doing it together.
The both of you, maybe you want to go play football, and your friend say, mommy say I should finish frying this gari before I'll play helping football. You start helping her naturally. You don't expect any form of serious appreciation or reward for doing that. You're just doing it for your friend. In your own time too, your friend will do the same thing. That's the kind of friendship people should have when it comes to marriage. When you have that kind of friendship, you don't struggle
at all.
You cannot be watching your own house. For instance, sometimes you go back home, you see everywhere scattered because there are children there. You can't be waiting for your wife. I remember I visited somebody who is married to somebody from my village. So the lady, I would say she's my sister because we are from the same village. So the lady was in the kitchen cooking, and the guy was in the sitting room to welcome me. They gave birth to a baby. I haven't visited. So sorry to say it on radio, the baby poo. And on TV, sorry. And the man was in the parlor. They're calling the wife from kitchen
to come and take care
of it. So because we already had Jason, and at least I've learned how to change diaper and clean up and do all those things. So it was irritating for me, for the woman to come all the way from kitchen to do that and still go back to the kitchen. So I quickly asked the man, where is diaper? So as soon as I said, where is diaper, I saw diaper on the table, a pack of diaper on the table, and the dining table, and I saw wipe too. So I took it, I cleaned the baby.
That's how it should be.
Put the man
was surprised, right?
The man was just looking at
you.
He now asked me, how did you learn this? I told him, do you know that this thing you can learn in the next 5 minutes? It's because you've not paid attention to it.
Exactly.
I said, this child, this girl is your daughter. It's your daughter. And look at how clean she is now. If she can talk, she will tell you, Daddy, thank you. You just say thank you.
And again, when men take care of their children, there is this bond.
You're correct.
There is this bond.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I don't know how to explain it.
No, it's true.
There is this bond you will have with your kids.
You're correct.
You see this thing that men will be shouting, okay, at old age, the children will know their mom. When you are part of raising those kids, taking care of them, not a situation where a child is sick and you expect the mom to be doing everything, or a child will want to bathe, you expect the mom to do everything.
The truth of the matter is
there.
The truth of the matter is that no good family man has ever been abandoned by his children. Except the children, they are not doing fine. There is level of abandonment. A situation where one has children, but the children themselves, they even abandon themselves because they are not doing well themselves. But a situation where they are doing well, taking care of their mother without caring about their father, if you check where you discover that, it's either the man may have maltreated the kids and their mother in the past, and the children couldn't forgive
Or was
him.
not part of, or was not part of
part
anything.
of their growing
Was
up.
not part of anything.
But a man who played his role very well in the life of those children from childhood to adulthood. Well, I honestly don't think it's possible for such a man to be abandoned. I think all of us we just need to come together and build a family.
True.
You know, family is not one person.
Yeah.
Family is coming together to have the best of union,
True.
the best of fraternity.
Yeah.
You know, where the mother is there, the father is there, the husband and wife, and then the
kids are
children,
there.
and everybody has a role to
play
in every area.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
that
Exactly.
family.
Exactly.
So I think if we can do that and just take away if we have to change the name from house chores to what we do at home.
At home.
What we do, not what she does, not what
It
he
has to
does.
be the two
but
of them.
the fact is what we do at home to
make the home
comfortable
conducive
for
and
all
comfortable
of
for everybody.
us. So if you can do that, I think marriages and homes
Can actually
will
work.
experience the kind of love we want it to.
True. I've learned so much. I always learn a lot because we share experiences and we share ideas when we come here.
Maybe I'm gonna teach you that local way of doing negotiation.
maybe next time on the program we'll talk about that. Thank you so much for joining us today on Love and Marriage. Of course, just like we've agreed, we'll call it what we do in the house to make the house comfortable and conducive for everybody. The man can help, the woman can help. Don't insist that it has to be the man or it has to be the woman. Look at your wife, look at your husband. Don't be that kind of a person that sees your wife suffering and you turn the other way. No. Don't be that man, that woman that will see your husband suffering and you turn the other way. No. Remember, if your husband is healthy, it's for your own good. If your wife is healthy, it's also for your own good. Thank you so much for joining us today on Love and Marriage. Fresh?
Yes. Well, like I want to add to what Omar has said. There is no marriage with love. It is the love you put in that marriage that is in that marriage. It's the peace you put there. It's the assist you put there. It's the help you put there that makes up that marriage. Let us do everything possible. In fact, we should be more concerned about our partner.
Yeah.
You know, our partner's well-being.
Yes.
As soon as we start being more concerned about our partner than we are about ourselves, that is when we'll start loving the way Christ wants us to love. Because himself, he wasn't concerned about himself, he was more concerned about us. Thank you, and see you next week Tuesday.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.